Am I all pixelated?
No, you look all right to me.
All right, that's fine then. All right, guys. I, I, I don't even know where to start. Um, we've just lost to Wolves 2-0, a team who hadn't won. Did they win any games before the new manager came in? After two games, he's got them playing or understanding what he wants them to do. I wasn't expecting that today. I know we've all got our reasons as to why we failed. But look, let me just say a howdy to Yaba, Brush, big up. We had our half conversation before. I'm glad the show was, slightly later than we normally run it. And Bath Time, who actually forgot we were on, he was so mad with the result. he was so mad with the result. Let me say a couple of howdies before we get into it as well. Mr. Potus is saying big up, Merry Christmas to everyone in the TMUA. Want to wish everybody great health and success. Cheers. Obviously, you said that before you saw the game result. Obviously, you didn't. There you go. What was Bruno thinking with that challenge? He's our captain and goes and does the stuffed up challenge. Does he forget he was on a yellow? Shocking from him. Big G, nice early comment. Bruno Fernandez is an absolute tool. Mr. Poultus, due to my mother-in-law working Christmas Day, we have our official. Not sure where the club goes from here, to be honest. Right, thanking you very much. Bilal, I think that any other player than Bruno, the referee would have been more lenient. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Brush, there's two of you. How you doing, man? Ole Kunle, you've left your cave. I'm not even going to read that comment, bro. I can't even be asked, man. Bilal is saying, should we all start all over again as Newton Heath? Andrew Williams, um, he's just telling us he thinks he thinks top four's over. You might be slightly right there. Colm, boy, I've never heard Colm cuss in the group since I've been in the WhatsApp group. And Colm let off a couple of expletives, so I know he's vexed. Some vids is saying good bloody evening. And Simon Warren is saying Yuletide greetings to the crazy gang. I don't even know where to start. All right, Yaba.
Well, some good news. Leicester have just scored against Liverpool. But it doesn't matter. We're not contesting anything. But it's not good news, actually, because that means Leicester might overtake us at some point. There you go. It all swings and roundabouts, doesn't it? It's really, before we get into everything, I just want to say, we were saying that this is probably the lowest it's definitely the lowest we've been on the Man United agenda. We've been going for about 4 years now, But this is the lowest, the worst side I've seen since probably 86, 87, when we had a bad run of results. And there's only temporary as well at the time. This is really poor. I understand we're in a transition. I understand we just changed manager. I understand that, talk about the formation. We've had to change formation, all this kind of thing. But we're just professional players out there. And once again, if you take all that to one side, once again, I'm looking at the way we're conceding goals. And I think that's the issue. Because I thought we were playing okay in this game. Conceded from a corner, straight from a corner again. No one helped out the goalkeeper. And then
hold on. Are you really you're not gonna blame Onana for that goal?
No one helped out the goalkeepers in. You're gonna let certain man just drift around him and bully him and give him no space to move.
Okay.
There's no one there with him.
Okay.
Do you guys think Onana saw what Bayern did last week against Tottenham and said, "Hold my beer"?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we were cussing the Turkish dudes, But look, I do think there has to be some protection there. You can't let if anyone's around the goalkeeper, someone's got to say, nah. You want to try and move up a goalkeeper? I'm standing with you, and I'm gonna push you, get you out of here. And that what didn't happen. I just see people just let it happen. And then obviously Bruno getting sent off. I've just seen it again now, and this is what makes it even worse. That he was nitpicking. He was trying to pinch someone. He got fouled. Then he ran back angrily and then pinched someone, gave them a foul. He's fouled a guy about 3 times before and fouled him nearest our box, and then end up getting a yellow card for that. For the first yellow card in the first half, and then to do what he did in the second half, from that my spirit just left me. You know, like you remember Mortal Kombat, Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung used to take man's soul. You know, I was sitting on the sofa. I had my sister here, my niece, and she's getting her hair done, everything. And suddenly the jokes just dried up. My soul just left me, like Shang Tsung. So yeah. It's good to be with you boys. Big up Brush, big up Bar Time, big up Mr. B, and everyone on the channel. Happy holidays and that. But boy, this is rough, tough.
Brush.
Yes.
Early thoughts.
I just hope everyone had a nice Christmas, man. Yesterday was lovely. The day before, I enjoyed tuning into your show as well. When everyone was getting merry on Christmas Eve. I might go and pour myself a drink right now, actually. After seeing that, I think the most disappointing thing for me was even with 11 men, we didn't really. We just looked gutless and toothless in the final third. I think there's a lot of square pegs, round holes, that sort of thing. I just don't see how much more coaching he can do with this formation, with these group of players. So until there's like recruitment that suits his profile, I don't see how this improves. Obviously, this is a results-based industry. So, there's going to come a time where questions need to be asked. Like, do you work with what you have until such a time where you can bring in your selection of players? Or do we continue with this and continue to take L's? We've seen what happened with Dan Ashworth. Spent 6 months chasing him, 5 months in the job, and they sacked him and they moved on. So if things continue in this vein, I worry that they might snap and sack him before the season's over, and it will be a real mess.
Half time.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen a worse football match for a very, very long time involving Manchester United. Like, I felt I was being sort of dragged into a coma in the first half. Like, what were we doing? It was like that was like an impression of a football match or something. Like if aliens had intercepted the transmission and were pretending to go and play football. It was absolutely dreadful. Like I don't know what's gone on with Rashford and all this kind of stuff, but I think we've lost 4 out of the last 5. Within 14th. There's very little. Like, when Yabo was going on about the corner and stuff, I was thinking that that's a bit about pride. Is that like you want to this is your area and you want to clean people out? It's like in your house or something. If people are coming in and like nicking your toast and stealing the butter and putting buttery knives in the jam and all the things that I hate, like you say no, enough of this. And there isn't anything from that. There's no reaction from these players. They seem to be like almost enjoying how squalid they are with the way that they play. And I'm genuinely like now, I like everyone else, I'm really concerned about what is going on here because we've got some of the worst football players that I've seen in a United shirt in my life on the pitch at the moment. None of them can run. Like they're all lazy. I hate this team at the moment. Like I mean, I'm sure we'll get on to individual performances, but when Harry Maguire is the only player that looks like he's fighting, like, do you know what I mean? Like when it's that, and this isn't a diss on Maguire, but when there's just one big tree just fighting away. And everyone around him is doing absolutely nothing. Like Garnacho just falling over. Like he looks like that girl out of Stranger Things. I don't know what to say. It's shocking what I saw today. And I've had Dora in my DMs telling me that she's just going to play computer games from now on. She's not going to watch. She's not going to watch it anymore. But I don't know, Mr. B. What did you think? Were you electrified by all of that?
I'm broken. Bath time. I was already on the edge with Ten Hag. I'll be honest, Ten Hag. I backed him for so long, and then to kind of half switch and suddenly hate the man, I felt okay. It was justified. We've now got Amarin in. I hated the players anyway. I hate a lot of the players anyway. But Amarin's come in, and I think it was the hope more than expectation because I've seen these players. We know what these players are like. Everybody said, "Oh, changing formation is going to hurt them." I'm thinking, well, they go away on international duty, and they play slightly different in different formations, and they're able to play. So them coming back to our club and being able to, they can't play in a 4, they can't play in a 3. So, I'm thinking, oh, do we need to go back to playing 4? No, I want them to play the 3. I want him to be able to get the shit out, but the club need to back him. They can't buy one player in January. It's impossible for them to buy one player in January and expect us to improve. We need 2 or 3 players in January. The club doesn't do that. And then it has to be 2 or 3 players that we need or that we want, not bloody Regalons and fucking Nagalos and Weghorsts.
And this is the trouble, Mr. B, because the January transfer market isn't the best to do business anyway. And the kind of players we need are probably more so summer targets. So you're going to be shopping for the Regulons in the January transfer market.
So what do you see? What you saying then? Don't buy nobody?
No. Needs must, right? But I'm just saying, don't expect the full shebang. I'm not expecting any major marquee signings to come in Jan. If we do get players,
the shebang at the moment, to be perfectly honest, let alone the full one.
Yeah, I fully expect. Listen, at this moment in time, I wouldn't say no to a bloody regular on a 6-month.
What a Gallo! He can hold the ball up. Do you remember against Manchester City?
Yeah,
did Erasmus do that?
There's still so many games as well. We need squad depth and all of that as well. Sorry, go on.
Where's the lit? Where is he? Where's the lit?
We've conceded 10 goals since the lit hasn't been on the pitch, right?
I didn't know that. No, I'm just wondering where it was.
It's 9. He's injured. He was sick over the festive period, innit?
Right.
But we've conceded 9 goals when he hasn't been playing. I'm just putting it out there, innit?
Okay. Sorry, Brush.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot where I was now. There's no easy fixes to this, guys. So in January, we definitely need some new faces in, but I'm not expecting big changes. Maybe obviously now because of the Rashford situation, we'll see something there. Even that though, will he go out on a permanent in Jan? I don't know. It might be a loan.
Do you think he still goes?
Are we? Yeah, I was going to say the Bath. Are we worse without him?
He's the only one that has. I mean, I'm not a massive fan, but he's got a proven track record of scoring goals. And in the last couple of weeks, we've benched the 2 players that are most likely to score goals in Garnacho and Rashford. And it would be nice to be in a position where we won 5 games in a row and we don't need them and so on. But we do need goals. And I don't know what you think about Rasmus and Xerxes at the moment, but in the first minute of the match, I saw Rasmus just run over a ball and forget to kick it in the net. I mean, and then he's just crying all match. I don't know. Goals have dried up with Bruno. It wouldn't surprise me if things are desperate now and they might turn to Rashford.
What I'm not going to do, and I don't think we should be doing this, because we spend, I remember, was it last week? Nearly every day we're talking about Rashford. We just have to stick with our decision that he's got to go and he's going to leave, and not suggest that him, I told you so sort of thing, where Rashford's saying, well, I'm not in the team and you guys are going to lose, or it's a curse or something like that. Look, he is a good player. He does score goals. He does give us something, in part of the squad. But for whatever reason, we have to back the manager to say he's not wanted. He's got to go. Same way we backed the manager with Ronaldo. When Ronaldo it wasn't perfect, was it? When Ronaldo was at the club, we weren't extremely happy with his performances, even though he'd done a lot of things, scored 18 goals in one season. But that's Ronaldo, probably one of the best players in the top 10 of all time, But we're talking about Rashford here, and we have to back the manager with this one. So I don't want to hear us on the channel talking about, we need to bring Rashford back in or get a petition to bring him back on the side. Because for me, it's a simple thing. Forget that. We scored once again. We conceded from a corner, and then we went down to 10 men, and then we broke. And then at the end, the last goal, forget about that. But we conceded from a corner and went down to 10 men. To me, that's petulance. That's immaturity. That's like a side that's not together, and that can be fixed. We could have a clean sheet today because I didn't think they offered much else beyond that. So talk about Rashford is futile, as the Borgs would say.
Yeah,
I don't know if it is
sailed as well. Sorry, Bartov. I was going to say I think that ship has sailed. For me, the difference this time is the fact that he himself put a statement out. Like, I think that's the beginning of the end when a player says he fancies a new challenge.
Yeah. But it's, for me, like, you're like saying that it's the manager's decision, Yabba. Like, we don't have a manager anymore. We have a head coach. I think it's Ineos's decision. And I think that they might be a little bit panicky, Ineos. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of like turned around a little bit on a few players. This is the point that I'm trying to make.
Because they can't, because then you, especially by half time, will say that's weakness, a sign of weakness if that happens. You would lose faith in them. Same way you lost faith in the manager for turning back and turning around on systems and players as well. And that would happen again. We have to sort of stick with, even if it feels like a big loss at the moment and we need him. I don't want to be saying SOS to Rashford in the next coming weeks, and crying when he leaves and that kind of thing. I just think we need to move on, take our licks, and come back and build better and stronger.
Yeah, but you're forever an optimist, yeah? I understand that. Where can you see, or how long do you think it's going to take to improve? Because let's be honest, Brush has already said that the transfer window, the January transfer window is hard. You saying for him to stay in his formation, I agree with you with that. We're in 14th. How much licks does the team have to take before you start maybe changing your mind on what you think's going on? Because let's be honest, our only hope of a trophy now, we've got Arsenal in the FA Cup, we're out. We're 14th in the league. Forget about anything other than 10th, in my opinion. We kept talking about 4th place, and now I think our only hope is Europa, and the players' confidence. There's no way it can just switch on and switch off.
With the FA Cup, though, Mr. B, it's a one-off game, so I'm never going to rule us out of a cup game.
I'd
rather we go out.
But all games are one-off at the end of the day.
Well, no, but in the league, though, half time, it's like form and that comes into it. Whereas a cup competition, anything goes.
All right.
We very nearly lost to Coventry last year. Yeah,
exactly. Anything goes. Imagine Coventry said, "Oh, we're totally out of this. We're turning up."
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. Look, the bottom line is, if we know the window's coming up, and we're not excited about that because we haven't got money. And we spoke about Rashford. Maybe if he leaves, whatever, we might have a bit of cash. But we don't want to get no rush thing in. Like I said, if you look at the game today, which we focus on, this is a pre-match, post-match review. Look at the game today. Look how we conceded the goals. Look how we made ourselves vulnerable by getting the man sent off. These are issues that can be resolved. It's attitude adjustment rather than complete overhaul and players are terrible. The players are getting it. There's spells. I know Bartham said it was poor in the first half, or to turn them to almost went into a coma. But I thought there were spells where I was encouraged to think, all right, in the second half, we're in this game. We can actually do something here.
Please.
When we were keeping the ball, we were keeping the ball. We were playing it around. I just think that the wide guys aren't talented enough to give us anything. I'm watching Liverpool now. Trent's getting the ball.
So it's what it could have been.
But I'm seeing enough to say. I'm seeing enough to say, okay, we're controlling a bit of the game. We're getting the ball forward. We're playing the ball, football in the opposition half. We're popping it around. Harry Maguire's switching the play a couple of times. And that's when I was feeling that the wide guys aren't good enough because he's switching the play, getting in situations where you got to deliver something and nothing was happening. And I just think, if we continue like that, we can wear them down because I don't think they had enough to really hurt us. Wow. We hurt ourselves with with the goal that we conceded.
Both of the goals could have been avoided.
Yeah,
We
there you
could have
go.
prevented both of them.
I don't know about the last goal, to be honest. Like, I mean, it's a dreadful goal, but you're chasing the game. Like, that was all, that was always going to happen, and I don't really blame the players too much for that.
That's because we pushed one up, right? So you risk that anyway. So
did you realize? Hold on a minute. Did you realize that Martinez was in full 100% pace when he was trying to sprint back, and he wasn't making any ground? And these guys are slowing up. Embarrassing.
This is almost like the kind of, I suppose this is the point, Yabba, right? Is that when you say, I sort of like, I see progress and I see things like that, you're kind of, in my mind, you're talking about the system and how like the system should sort of operate. When you talk about things like Martinez lacking the pace, like how can we defend better from corners and things, that I think is actually about individual player quality, because we know you need at least 5 lumps to play a zonal system, 6 if you include the keeper, and we don't have that. We've got like wide men, as you said, who lack the quality. With all the money that's gone into the club from the Ten Hag era, like 670 million or whatever, we've essentially bought basically mid-table Premier League players at best. And that's kind of where we're finding the level, because no system can elevate players to like up, but it can jump them that far up. And for me, I look around the team, and even players like Ugarte, who I know lots of people like, and I think he's decent off the ball. He's a donkey on the ball, man. Like, I've never seen a player who's so poor, like, at receiving a football. His body shape's all wrong. Every pass is behind or in front. And like the only moments of quality that I saw in that game were from Bruno and Kobe, like just sort of combining and so on. And I think that once again, we've got to stop elevating average players, like calling them ballers and things, when what we need players like Cunha. We need big lumps that can run about and smack people up, because like that's how we're going to get back, is building the physical floor of the team. So I think that we do need to go in January and get physically capable players, because just look at Lisandro Martinez at the end. He looked like a little gopher, like a badger, trying to chase like Juan, like that. I don't know, is he Korean or Chinese or something? But he's only ever scored one goal, like, and it was today. But I think that like it's about the physical quality and the technical quality of the team, and it doesn't matter the system or the coaching. I don't think that you can elevate those levels. For me,
I actually agree with you, Bath Time. I actually agree with you. I said, yeah, but I want to feel what you're feeling in it, and I think Bath Time maybe got my point in saying that the system may well work and it breaks down in certain areas when we don't have the left-sided player because Dalot has to cut in. I understand that, but the players that we've got, I don't think are doing enough. I'm not going to say they've given up already, because they've been shit for a while. But surely, as professional footballers, you want the best for yourself and your club. If you know that Amarin has the opportunity, or it sounds like he's been given carte blanche to remove anybody he wants, all right, coincidence that Casemiro's not getting any game time and he's on 350. Bruno may well be the next one for the chopping block. He's on 3 whatever he is. And Rashford, we already know the situation with Rashford. I'm more worried that Casemiro, maybe they shouldn't have been ostracizing. He played okay under in the 2-man midfield with what's his name? With Rude. When he played with
him and Ugarte.
Him and Ugarte. I thought that was fine. I thought that would have been the base that he's used. He hasn't played him. He played him today because he had to play him. It wasn't because he wanted to play him. So if he's to me, it seems like maybe he's harming himself. Play him once a week. Play him once a week. We know he can't play twice a week, but it just seems like they're going that way. And are they going to sacrifice trying to force Casemiro out, because it has to be done in January. There's no way they can keep him and not play him from January to May. So something has to be in the pipeline where they're saying, okay, you're gone in January. And it has to be something definite, because they've frozen out a player who understands. He's probably forgotten more about his position than Kobe knows, or Kobe's learned so far. You understand? You know, there's so much experience that he has that he can pass. I understand his legs on, but Agate's a rat. Agate will do the thread work for him. He will run around. He will beat his legs. You understand?
Yeah, I agree, because Agate is like, it's very similar to the sort of McFred situation, where we don't have a single pivot, like who's, you know, we don't have like a Rodri who's great at everything. So we need to play two that complement each other. And with Agate, ideally, you want someone who can like win headers and has a more expansive range of passing. And I'm really surprised that with this like Achilles heel of corners, that we're not thinking about getting Casemiro in, because he can head a football. Like, he wins a hell of a lot of headers in both boxes. And I mean, is it 6 set pieces we've conceded in the last 5 games?
Our set piece coach needs shooting.
Well, I don't think he does, to be honest. Because it's the way we're set up for set pieces isn't that bad. It's the individual quality of the players.
Agreed.
Like, for me.
So let's talk about the goal that we conceded.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to ask you now, because obviously you've been seeing positives. Maybe you haven't seen any from this. From when a goal goes in straight in from the corner, I'm blaming the goalkeeper in it. I understand you said there was on the replay, they showed, you know, the little argy-bargy with the 2 players. That's fine. But he wasn't off balance when the ball went over his head. The team, I understand, I feel should have had somebody. I always have somebody on the back post. It makes no sense to me, front and back, or somebody who can cover the back. The ball went straight in. So maybe it was a team setup. But at the same time, I think he should have done more.
I didn't touch on Onana. I said other issues where I felt went wrong. If you're marking zonal, it doesn't mean he stands still. Your zone should consist of like 10 yards radius, sort of, or 6 yard radius around you. So if someone goes on your goalkeeper in your zone, you go with him and you move him out of the way to give the goalkeeper space to move. I think this is payback after when we played them first game of the season last year, and Onana came rushing out. He came rushing out. And he had room to run. And he had room to run that time. And he was blind. He ran blindly and took someone out. The big giant they had thing. So this time around, he had no room to run. And unfortunately, I know Mr. B, you're pointing fingers at him, but I just think, could it be a foul? I looked at it. Could it be a foul? Maybe not. What I would have preferred to have seen was one of our players, whether it was Agate, I can't remember who it was exactly, drop when the guy left you to go on the goal line and block his movement. You go there and get him in his face and push him away from the goalkeeper. Protect the goalkeeper. I played in goal recently, as you know, my finger and all that. I'm out at the moment, but I played in goal, and I was really worried about corner situations because I'm thinking, do I come? If it's in a 6 yard box, do I come out and try and claim it or punch it, or do I stand on my line? You know, if I miss it, I'm going to look stupid. If it goes, you know, there's no one on the goal line. And a couple of times when I've had players trying to stand with me, I just have to give them arm space. I push them away arm space, and nah. And then we get into that wrestling match and all that kind of thing because I need space to move. So Onana should say, as Bart's saying here, this is my house. You're in my space. I got freedom of movement here, as I did when I punched your guy last year. I need that space to move. And so Onana's guilty of that, but then there should also be someone else in there, a teammate. There's 6 guys around you who should be able to pick up the guy and move him away somehow without giving away a foul. I think that's pathetic. We're laughing stock right now. Every corner is going to go against us. People will be taking. Look, when you come training, they'll be curling in corners into the goal all the time now. Don't worry about me, heading the ball in the goal. Just curl it into the goal. And you see this sort of thing at under 8s, when or sometimes women's football where people get lobbed, and you think, like that. it's absolutely horrendous to see. And I don't know how many palms Man United fans were face palming after that goal, because we've seen it before last week, week before. It's unbelievable. Another set piece we've conceded. But like I say, we're talking about the goal that we conceded. Okay, there's no other chances they were really creating or bossing us or anything like that. We were in the game. So to remain in the game, cut out this stupid foolishness thing. Like I just said here, there's what we could have done to avoid it. Cut that out, and then we can compete. But when we cannot compete when we keep making stupid mistakes and becoming a laughing stock because we can't even defend a corner. Get the space yourself. Make sure you have that space to do what you want. If you're not getting it, demand that someone comes in and helps you out. Because I'm not picking out Onana just on this one. There's other people who should be helping him out as well.
I think also, like, I do believe in coincidence quite a lot, but I do wonder if it's a coincidence that we've conceded the same goal, like you've never seen that goal before. We've conceded it twice in a week with two different goalkeepers. Something about that tells me that players aren't doing their job, and I think it's that when you look at like players like Ugarte, Martinez, Rasmus, I've seen them being absolutely dreadful as the blockers for 2 or 3 years. And I think that teams are really understanding that they can move us about where they want. Like, and it really worries me, because I think your man We Deserve Better put something in chat about why didn't this happen under Ten Hag, and there are the two names that popped into my mind, the McTominay and Casemiro. They're very, very good at defending high balls, and with Kobe, Ugarte, like Martinez, even Yoro's not particularly good at defending aerials. Like, there's just such an Achilles heel in that team of dealing with the ball in the air.
Good shout. Brush.
Solutions, guys. Sorry. Yeah, go on. Brush, we need you. We need your discussion.
Honestly, in terms of solutions, I don't really see what's going to fundamentally change with the group of players he has at his disposal at the moment. So until we see some improvement.
Rush, do you agree with what we're saying about the goal?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then,
if you're the manager and you're going to change, how are you going to pick out? Where are you going to pick out the errors? Are you going to blame the goalkeeper? What are you going to say?
They're both to blame, innit? Like, I think you touched on it already. The fact that he needs to, command his area. But Halftime also mentioned that we've conceded the same goal in the space of a week with two different goalkeepers. So obviously the outfielders, need to do their part in fixing that as well. But yeah, unfortunately for him, for the most part, I do think the goalkeeper's had a good season, but unfortunately he's got that bozo gene in him. And when that happens, everything else goes out the window and no one sees the good work he's done. It kind of undoes all of that. So that's where I'm at with it. And I've looked at the fixture list as well going forward, and it's just dark. It's a good thing alcohol is on discount over Christmas, and I'm fully stocked up. Is all I'm saying. Newcastle made light work of Aston Villa today. Not looking forward to them on the 30th, and then bloody Liverpool after that.
We're missing, but I can't believe it. Bruno suspended again for Liverpool. He was suspended last year as well, weren't he?
Are you starting to think it's a pattern? Is he doing this on purpose now?
You know what? I mean, look. That brings us perfectly onto the Bruno sending off. You've been given a yellow card, and as Yabo said, he had been sort of nitpicking at the player. You as captain, you've gone and get yourself sent off, knowing that we've got Liverpool next game. What can he say? I mean, he can't say shit, to be fair. I know it might be a bit reactionary, but is this another one of the high players that need to go?
Hang on, he might not be suspended.
Why?
Because it's not a direct red.
Two yellows in it, so he'll miss Newcastle.
So Ugarte and Bruno will just miss Newcastle, I think, and he will play. He'll be back for Liverpool.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe he did it on purpose, and I don't know. Look, I don't know.
Maybe I mean, you think it was? I don't want to turn this into like ref chat, but I thought it was a little bit harsh, that yellow, to be honest. I mean, I just
Which
thought
one?
typical when it happened.
Which
Second.
one? The
Second.
one.
Like, I think the bar's got to be a bit higher for a second yellow. That's something I've heard a lot. And Bruno just seemed to be like knocking his ass about. I kind of felt that was. I thought that was harsh, but you know, didn't surprise me. Is that his 4th red card of the season?
Third.
Jesus Christ! I mean, like,
he's a captain. We've
he
already got
never
through
gets
half
sent
of
off
the season.
3 times in a season.
No, it's Vidic was the last person to get sent off 3 times in the season.
Jesus Christ!
We're not even. We're just at Christmas.
Oh God!
All right. So the first yellow card we received in the first half, they did show it again. I didn't record this, but he started deep. We were attacking. He lost the ball and he felt that was a foul, but he was too weak. Then he started pinching at the guy once, twice, and the 3rd time is when he gave away the foul. And I think it's an accumulation of things where the referee saw him pinch, the guy just rode on. This might have been Kuna because he just doesn't stop, man. You can't stop him. Once he gets going, he's like the juggernaut. And ended up giving away a yellow card because it was like a foul. It wasn't like a studs up foul or anything like that. It was a foul where he's stopping them attacking and all. You know, how do they word that these days by half time? When professional foul, you're stopping someone from breaking. Which practical foul?
Tactical.
Oh, sorry, tactical foul. Yeah. So it was. I can see why. I pinched him 3 times and then tactically fouled him at the end because no one was stopping him. I think it was Kuno he brought down in the end. And so I think, all right, fair enough. That's a yellow card. Not because it's a bad challenge or anything, but it's the petulance because he was upset. And the first thing he said was, "What about what happened over there when he was fouled?" And obviously, it's too late for that. Take your yellow. Coming out in the second half. For him to do that, a lot of people do that to set your ground, don't you? You sort of, how much space do you need? So you plant your foot in a way to sort of say, right, this is my space. But he planted his foot and dragged his whole boot down the guy's leg or hit his shin. That could be a leg breaker. And you're planting the foot as well. So you put all that power down to place your foot. That's a dangerous challenge. And it could have been nasty. So the referee had a good view of that. And the referee, I don't think the referee said about something about second yellow card should be, be a bit more cautious when you're given a second yellow. I don't think it matters. He's seen that and thought that's a studs thing. That's dangerous play. Yellow, regardless of who it is. I'm not going to take that into account. And it shouldn't be, in a way. I don't think that should be considered. I've heard referees, because you see, you get referees talking on the commentary now. I've heard referees say, you can't give that because of the nature of the game, or you can't take, they need to be careful how they say these things because then you say, it's a cup final. We don't want to do that. I remember when Vinnie Jones took out Steve McMahon in the first few minutes of cup final. He should have been sent off because there was a time Vinnie Jones got sent off seconds into a game straight from a kickoff. Do you remember that? He dived in on someone and the ref gave him a red card. Didn't matter then, did it? So all this thing about second yellow card and should be taken into account, whatever, I disagree. I agree that's a red. And I don't know. I like Bruno's work rate. He wants to try as hard, but today he was getting moved up, bounced up, like trying to, I was getting frustrated. Like, oh, come on, try a little harder. So I think it's accumulation of him trying to win the ball, getting bounced by these stronger, more physical, wanting it with Wolves players. And then this time around, his first touch was poor for the second yellow, and he went to stamp his ground, saying, right, I've got this. I'm going to make amends for this. And he ended up, stamping down the shin of Semedo, whatever his name is. So it's deserved, and it's just disappointment. I'm sure everyone just was really vexed at that point because it made it even harder than it was.
Yeah, because at that point, the manager's team talk at halftime and any plans he might have had goes out the window, doesn't it? And especially considering he's our captain and one of the senior players, you expect better.
Yeah, it's also about subs as well. Like, someone like Garnacho's, he's been a good boy, I think, recently. I haven't heard a peep out of him. The leaks seem to have stopped. Yeah. I'm sure that, that he was really, excited about coming on with 20 minutes to go against, a tired relegation team that have conceded the most goals. And Bruno just... maybe I'm just being too nice to Bruno because I've replayed when Yad was talking. I watched it again, And yeah, it does go on the studs. And it does look like, that might actually be more than a red than a yellow. But I was just too angry when it happened to bother watching it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I got up. But what I'd like to know about is what's going on with Kobe Minu.
What do you mean? What's going on with him?
I think he's fallen off a cliff in terms of what he used to bring to the team.
Big claim. So the claim for bath time is Kobe's fallen off a cliff from what he used to be.
Well, no, in terms of what he used to bring to the team, which was a bit of control, like popping it about and things. Now everything seems to be sort of like individual, isolated moments. He's getting really far ahead of the ball and stuff. Like, we're not seeing a lot of defensive work from him. Like, I feel that like Kobe isn't anywhere near the levels of effectiveness that he put last season. And obviously he's a young player, and you go through peaks and troughs. But I'm not quite. I don't think that I like seeing him next to Agate. Like, I don't know what's going on with him and like what the plan is for him.
I mean, looking at it, obviously, I think they always talk about second season syndrome. Where they have a great first season, they come in and their second season drops off. He's been injured, granted. He probably needs to get himself up and running if he shouldn't be up and running already. I do believe that the two-man midfield is a problem. I mean, you were talking about him being able to pop it off. In a three-man midfield, you're always going to have somebody close enough to be able to pop it off. At the moment, you've got part of the team pressing. You've got that little gap in between the two. And I think he's doing a lot of chasing and stretching. Whereas because the team, we're not in control of the ball to a certain extent, I think that may be where the issue is. I do think he is playing too deep as well. I do think we need to get him further up the pitch. But it's trying to find the balance. And obviously, I think Mason Mount, as much, as we don't like him, I actually think that he was an important cog to what Amarin wanted to do. And him being out.
It's a real shame, Mr. B. Real shame that he can't stay fit, because profile-wise, he suits Amarin a lot.
Yeah, and the fact that he started him in the game that he got fit in, got injured in, I feel that he thought he was a main player. So it's kind of back to the. Amarin was saying he needs players who are fit. Players who aren't fit ain't no good to him. I think that's a sign. That they're going to try and get rid of. I mean, look, he's going to be back in February. He's going to have to play like Jesus for them to even contemplate giving him a new contract. You know what I mean? I don't see how Mount stays after next season. If he gets in, I mean, he's been injured again. He's bound to come back and get injured again.
And to be honest, if he keeps getting injured, I don't see how we get rid.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's a good point again. To be fair.
Wow.
Are we going to discuss that? Is it worth discussing the second goal?
Well, just going back on the Kobe thing, look, last season, I mean, the FA Cup goal, his emergence onto the scene, he's very, very good technically, can get himself out of trouble. But it is, look at the positives and the low points of his game. Technically, very good. Seems to have a good attitude. He's transferred his skills into the senior team. Last year, we saw what he could do. Got England caps and call-ups from that. And he can sort of turn his way out of trouble, got good awareness, and can pass it like 10, 15 yards quite high percentage-wise, pretty good. Low side of the game, what we're seeing now, maybe physically, we've sensed this. I remember Bartime pointed out where he got pinched a couple of times. And I think since then, people are not afraid to get at him. A bit like how they did with Fred. That was the agenda, was right. As soon as Kobe gets the ball, put him under pressure. I've noticed certain times he's under a lot of pressure, and it's getting harder and harder for him, because the physicality of the game. Yeah, there you go, Liverpool game, and we've got to witness that against Newcastle again. It's going to be really interesting to see. So I think he's still developing. Like Garnacho, we can criticise these guys; they're not perfect. But where he can improve, I think it's not like something that he can't do. So hopefully the coaches and the whole football club can help him to develop and get better. And I do agree with Bartime. He's not performing maybe at the level, but I just think it's a confidence thing, because when he's confident and he's given that, responsibility to do what he does, because we know what sort of player he is, I think he'd play really well like he did when he first came on the scene. But at the moment, like the whole club, I mean, no one's really particularly playing really well, and I wouldn't want to be picking him out to say, he's not doing good. But I'm still optimistic about his future. I don't know how you feel, Brush, about Kobe Mainoo, whether you think there's been a drop.
Absolutely. I think
Time,
Bath Time touched on it as well. Young player, obviously, and young players go through dips in form, and that obviously he's not helped by the fact that there's been so many chopping and changing of everything at United at the moment, both with the formation, the manager, team selections. So I don't really have any long-term concerns. But in the immediate future, he needs to step it up a bit.
I'm concerned about Kobe. I'm concerned about keeping him, to be honest, because with the formation we play, there's not a real natural place for him anymore, in my opinion. I'm not sure that he's athletic enough to play in this sort of 2-2 midfield. I think that he's a combination player. So you're looking for sort of third man combinations and nice little tippy tappy stuff. And this season, I know, right? So he's had injury problems. He was at the Euros. He hasn't had a pre-season. Really hard to get going. But I see him as the most disjointed of our players in this new system, and I'm just a little bit worried that he might be he was a European finalist, for England and stuff, and he was very, very good in the Euros. He will have he's regarded as one of the top 5 young players in the world, and so on. And if we don't sort ourselves out, we will lose Kobe Mainoo, because he's got the quality to play certainly in the Champions League under a different setup. And I'm just getting concerned that the brief should have been to Amrin. It should have been Kobe, Yoro, and Garnacho. Get them developed. They're the future of the football club. And Yoro hasn't really impressed. Yoro's, similar things, had injuries and things, but already you can see massive weaknesses in his game.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Bath Time.
Yeah,
he's a baby in football. In terms, he's a baby. You're saying this. Of course, there's going to be stuff lacking from his game. It's up to us as a club to. He's only come back from a broken foot, and they're easing him in. I think that's harsh, man. I think that's really.
Yeah, but
harsh.
I'm saying that this, if we don't, the plan should be that these are the guys that should be maximised because they've got enormous potential.
How do we know that it's not? How do we know going forward that it's not? All right, Garnacho. Maybe they needed to slap Garnacho on his wrist.
Sure, but what? But the reason that I'm saying,
I mean, maybe he come February, Garnacho's playing every game, but I just think it'd be a bit harsh there, man.
No, because it's I'm looking at Kobe, and I'm not just seeing him go backwards, which is fine because he's young, and you have to take steps back before you take steps forward. It's you've got to make the mistake before you understand why you don't do that or why it's better to do this. That's the sort of pragmatism of learning. But with Kobe, I think he's being shoehorned in, instead of sort of not fitting a system to him, but he's been put in places where we're not seeing the best of him and things. What he's got at the moment isn't being maximised. And that's why I'm saying I think the brief should have been to develop those 3. And based off what I'm seeing with Kobe, I don't know if that is actually the brief. But then again, it might be something like we might not have seen Casemiro playing because Mount was fit. And when Mount's fit, it allows you to play a different way that didn't suit Casemiro. So maybe you're right. And maybe there's lots of other sort of changeable parts. But for me, I'm a little bit worried about us losing Kobe because he should be the future of the club. And I just, nothing seems to be set up for him, like midfield partners and so on. Ugarte is an awful partner for Kobe Minor.
Do you think that this is maybe down to the fact? Yeah, go on.
I thought Ugarte done pretty well today. Yeah, I don't know what Brush feels, but we've had time to assess Ugarte, and I think he, like today, putting out fires. Noticed that a lot today, and people don't. This is what I'm saying. It's unsung. People, these things go like unheralded. A bit like Harry Maguire clearing headers and doing the basic defending. No one talks about that. And the thing with Ugarte, I've seen him today, watched him the first half especially, putting out fires, stamping things out, and just playing it simple. But Bath Times wants to have more to his game. I understand that. I agree with you there. But what he does do well, he does really well. And I think maybe I'm focusing too much, a bit blinkered Bath Time, and I'm talking about him maybe. But I'm thinking, no, hold on. Let's not criticise this guy, because one person I won't criticise today is Ugarte and Harry Maguire, because I thought they performed pretty well doing their basics. And if you're saying just doing the basics is right, what's that saying about the other players on the pitch? So I hear what you're saying.
Who's the first player that's been substituted in the last 2 games?
I don't know why. Maybe squad rotation. Or it's a difficult position to play.
It's on the ball, Yabba. He's not great in the final third and things. And this is why I say I think he's a bad partner for Kobe. Because I don't disagree that his energy is fantastic. He's always putting in the running. He's a decent reader of the game. It's a little bit. He's on the verge of being too aggressive, but he's learning the league and so on. But
there's no such thing.
Sorry.
I was just joking. I was just saying there's no such thing last time as too aggressive.
Okay. Well, watch Sandro Martinez coming into midfield. But the thing is that when Kobe gets ahead of him, it's really difficult for Kobe to receive that ball. That could be, that could be because Bruno, I remember there was a moment in the first half where Ugarte hit a suicide ball to Delo. And Delo tried to play a 1-2 with Bruno, and then they were right in on us. Sweep it up. It's like I think that Ugarte and Kobe just don't work well enough, because it looks like they would be good where one's the passer and the sort of more flary player, and the other one is the piano carrier. But that piano carrier isn't able to get it to Kobe in the right areas, so we keep having to go out wide. And neither of them are particularly good at winning headers. So I'm a bit surprised that we went so all in on Ugarte, because I don't think he's Kobe Mainoo's best complement, and that should have been the priority for me.
When though, because you got to think about when they bought Ugarte, he was playing in a 3-man midfield. You see what I mean? They brought somebody in who's not going to play a 3-man midfield.
Yeah, so even the appointment of the manager sort of sets Kobe back, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's more down to the appointment of the manager, not necessarily him. I mean, look, they're all learning the system to play in. I think we're going to struggle for the rest of the season.
Just quickly, what do you think of Wolves? This is a team that can get points. They won their last. Won their last couple of games or 3 games, something.
Last 2 they've won.
I'd won the last 2 games since the manager's come in. I think that they're when you look at the Premier League, that's like a team at the bottom. Are they bottom of the league? Or were they bottom of the league?
They were in relegation. They were in the bottom 3.
If that's a relegation team, the Premiership's pretty hard. We've seen Chelsea lose today. We've seen teams drop away with Man City, drew. I just think, wow, they were on it. The crowd was on it.
Yeah, but they've been winning games before that, bro. What I'm saying is, looking at them today, they're a good team. That Kuno guy, we were looking at him. When he's at Atletico Madrid, we were talking about him coming to Man U. He's fantastic, man. A really, really good player.
I know he's scored the goal and everything, but everything beyond that, his work rate, his strength, the way he just glides past people, his 1-2s. I mean, what's his name? Little Ahmad. He kept coming over towards Ahmad and eating him up. And then that guy Totti, left side centre back, he was the beast of a player. Just couldn't get no change out of him, just from physicality, you know. I'm looking at his team thinking, wow, just the basic physicality threat. This guy is good. He's strong, and he's a good runner, and you know he doesn't complain. He doesn't even seem to be breathing hard. And I rated him today a lot, and I rated their guy Larson up front. I think he gave Harry Maguire a bit of a problem with his. Obviously, he's going to give everyone a problem.
That's the first time I've seen Maguire. Like, I agree with you. That's the first time I've seen someone have a competitive game in the air with Maguire for a long time. Henrik Larsson's son, Strand Larson.
I think Wolves have also been helped by their appointment because the manager, his style of play, you know, it's similar to what Gary O'Neill did, and he had those tools at his disposal with the wing backs and whatnot. So the transition has been a lot smoother.
See, I think that we're overrating Wolves because they've played against the two physically weakest teams in the Premier League, in my opinion, Manchester United and Leicester. And they're an extremely physical team, a bit like Newcastle, where they've got big, strong lumps who can run all over the pitch. And like Totti or whatever, I'm not sure if he's like an outstanding Premier League like player. But you need a certain level of physicality to match him. Like, you know, I think someone like Robinson at Fulham or whatever is a better player. But the thing is that we couldn't match them physically on the pitch. And Cunha is definitely like he was a level above everyone else today because he's got that physicality, but he's also got a bit of softness like on the ball and things. And so, like when you look at a player like Ahmad, who's done well at right wing back, but he hasn't really done well as a 10, has he, for us?
Time will tell.
Well, yeah, but I mean, previously,
probably.
As a 10. So it doesn't really suggest that like they were doing anything, that they were playing out of their skins to keep him quiet or you know, to sort of deal with Bruno. I think that once again, it's just we're so physically weak. Like the recruitment has been an absolute shambles, and we've got a team that you can beat up. And that is, you know, look at teams like Villa, who, you know, they've got like Rodgers and McGinn and Onana and stuff like that. You have to fight them before you can play football. And today I thought Wolves just fought us and we weren't able to play football because we couldn't compete with them. Yeah. And then I think when Casemiro came on, the game turned very quickly because he and Maguire started physically competing. Yeah. Like, I mean, at one point, Maguire threw Strand Larson on the floor, handballed it, and then just booted it up the pitch, and we were back in the game. It was fantastic. But that's what I think. And this is why Dalot has been annoying me recently. He used to be like one of our more physical players, and yet I'm not really seeing it anymore. Like, do you remember all the suicide runs he used to do and stuff?
Yeah.
They're not really there anymore. Like Maz used to be someone that used to think, yeah, he's a big boy, and he's diminishing a little bit, I feel, as well, physically.
It's a tough old league, isn't it? Tough old league, boy. So what do you think? So any players we're getting on recruitment now, do you reckon they should go through some sort of a strongman challenge or something?
Yeah.
Lifting boulders.
I tell you what, Bath time, that young wing back we're signing, he looks a right unit. He looks an absolute unit. He doesn't look 17.
Yeah.
Isn't he like 5'6" or something?
No, 5'11".
Ecuador. Oh, 5'11".
5'11".
Oh wow!
He's not arriving until next summer, and I doubt he'll like play a big part or anything. But when I saw a few clips of him, I couldn't believe the kid was 17.
Well, maybe that's
like Goretzka.
That's what's ticking the boxes now. I think they recognise that we need to have players that are physical, a bit like the old in the 80s or English football, traditional English football. When you're growing up and you want to make it in the game, also always the big players that
Yes.
made it.
In the 90s as well, yeah. But
All right, okay.
About that.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, I like your idea. Like, you ever watched? Is it Takashi's Castle or Gladiators?
Ninja Warrior. Oh,
Yeah, like the Travelator. Like they've got to be able to get up that.
You know what, Bath Time? I always used to wonder what the prize was for winning Takashi's Castle because it never seemed worth it, whatever it was.
It was prima nocte. You got to be the lord of the castle and do whatever you wanted.
If you live long enough.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what we need instead of like training sessions and rondos and stuff. They need to install.
Just make them run to Takashi's Castle. Whoever's remaining, they get kept for next season. I like
that one total wipeout where they have to jump on the balls.
Oh yeah.
Like let's see Casemiro do that. But yeah, I just think that but when we look when we look at players like Martinez, Anthony, who actually I thought was all right, Anthony, when he came on, I think that we've signed weak mid-table quality players, and there's too many of them. And I'd love to see Collier be given a chance in the team. I think that with the loss, as it were, of McTominay and Casemiro, from playing time last season, I think that we are absolutely struggling for lumps that can head a football and kick people a little bit. And I think that if we're going to get back, because when you're on a run and you're not winning, it is really difficult. We've lost 4 out of 5, I think. There's no confidence around the club. I think that you do it by fighting your way back. Not by getting better at third man combinations or stuff like that. No, yeah.
I was just thinking, like we're saying, with the Premiership, I've never really wanted to say it. I have been saying it the last year or so, but there is a difference. There is a clear difference, and part of the criteria of playing the Prem, you're going to be aware that you're going to, have to deal with the physicality, whereas the running power, the strength of players, the size. It's something serious, and like saying Wolves today, they've got that. They tick that box, and that's what keeps them fighting. I don't think they've been lower than had a relegation fight since they got back into the league. And when I'm looking back, everyone talks about that Barcelona side that beat us twice in the final Champions League. Was it in Rome and Wembley? Saying that's the best side of all time. But how would they have fared with a beautiful midfield three? They weren't very physical. They were quite a small side.
Busquets.
I mean, but he's not physical, is he? He's not. He knows how to play.
He was.
You got Iniesta, Xavi. You've got David Villa, and who's the Pedro and Messi. These are all small guys. But
you had Dani Alves, Puyol, Piqué, Eric Abidal, you did have proper athletes, over the team.
I think Yaya Toure played at centre back.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they did have. I agree with you. I think that Man City of 2 or 3 years ago, I think a prime De Bruyne and a prime Haaland would have been difficult for that team to deal with. But even now, I think that Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta would have a bit of a problem against McGinn, Rodgers, and Arna, players like that, because when Pep came to the Premier League, the first thing he had to adapt to was setting his team up for second balls, because it wasn't something that he bothered about in Barcelona. But can I get this correct? Would you now say that Angel Gomez is a player that we shouldn't be looking at?
Well, what I will say, I mean, Rush, I don't know what you think, but when I look at David Silva, when he came to the Premier League, I thought, it's going to work out for him.
Yeah.
But it did, because he had players around him to support him, and he was probably the only one who's that small. But everything sort of came through him. I don't think Angel Gomez would be good for us now, but if you utilize him perfectly to the right way, and have players around him who are physical, then you can get away with having one small player, I think, in the Premier League.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's teeny tiny, isn't he? Obviously, the fact that he's homegrown as well, that might come into play, and the fact that he's available on a free. Yeah, I can't really compare him to David Silva in any other way. So I don't really know where that comparison came from. But yeah, if he were to come in, if he were to come in, I mean, he'd be.
I'm pretty sure David Silva got on a proper blood doping program, though, didn't he? Like, isn't that?
Pep's got a heritage for that, hasn't he?
Yeah, like I think that like he got a bit of the juice to help him out.
I know they did that with Messi
and Maradona.
Look, Maradona would have found the juice regardless. He didn't need anyone.
I mean, he found more than juice, didn't he? He found what didn't he find?
Yeah. Well, how did your Christmas Eve show go? I heard getting like.
I got wrecked. It was fantastic.
Yeah. My brother was telling me, because I was with him on Christmas Day, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, 2.5 hour show, pretty funny." You know, it was.
He was very unhappy with you, Yabba.
Why?
Because you didn't invite,
him on.
You don't invite him on, and the only time he got invited on, you weren't here. So he was a bit of a downer at the start, talking about that.
Did he say I don't invite him on?
Yeah, several times.
Okay. Do you want me to cuss him out?
Yeah.
No, I won't do that. No, I wouldn't. I mean, he's always welcome. He knows that. Everyone, you know, we got certain familiar guests like Brush and thing and Zico, Kahinde. Always welcome. Tyrone, you know, always welcome to come on. So don't expect me to be asking you. Just phone up if you want to come on. Just come on. Simple as that. But sorry, one talk. Because it's festive period anyway. Look, we lost. I don't want to be thing, but let me just say this: I have opinions about certain footballers and things like that over the years, and even I've been saying it and championing this guy for a long time. I watched something the other day that just reignited my love of this player and makes me realise when they really went into detail of what he achieved. It made me realise just how good he is. I think I'm putting it out there. I think Zico is one of the top 5 players of all time. Definitely one of the top number 10s of all time. What a great player, man! What a great player, and just unheralded because he didn't win the World Cup or he missed a penalty against Bro. But what a player Zico was, man! If you don't know, go and get to know. Zico is probably my favourite player of all time. I like Valderrama, but Zico is the business. Absolute business.
Your Christmas argument that you've had with your family?
No, I'm just bringing it up because look, we've talked about the game and everything. I'm just saying Zico, players from the past like that. Zico was a magician. He was just absolutely. The stories I've heard. There's one story when he went to Udinese. Yeah, he's free kick, the best free kick taker of all time, in my opinion. He was hitting free kicks and he kept hitting the bar. It was going over, and they were like, "Who is this guy?" You know, he's. I heard he had a good reputation. He said, "Oh, something must be wrong." And he said, "There's like, what do you mean something's wrong?" He said, "Oh, the goal is not right. You need to measure the goal." And lo and behold, they went to measure the goal and it sunk into the thing by about 5 centimeters or whatever. So the next day they fixed it, and every goal, top bins. But anyway, I'm just talking about, I love Zico as a footballer. I think he's more effective than Maradona. I think he's better than Platini.
Wow.
Yeah, and better than, only behind.
Platini win like 3 Ballon d'Ors.
Yeah, them times South American players couldn't win Ballon d'Ors. But
that is true.
So I'll just put it out there anyway. Anyone want to talk about anything else but Man United, please? And another thing, another talking point I just want to shout out as well. Roy Keane wasn't just an all-out aggressive ball winner. He, was a good footballer. Could play forward passes and get into the box and score and get run off the ball and all that kind of thing. I mean, his accolades, I think sometimes forget how good he was as well.
I think the same about Gary Neville. I think.
Right. What's your take on Gary Neville then? Because I don't think he's all that.
I think Gary Neville should be regarded alongside Keane and Robson as one of United's greatest ever captains.
Greatest captains?
Yep.
What did he win as a captain?
Not players.
Exactly the same as Keane did. He won, I think, 6 or 7. I think he won 6 league titles.
As
Champions
captain?
League. Yes. He replaced Keane as captain after Keane left.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
I don't recall him lifting trophies. So
Well, he certainly did.
Okay.
But I think that what's happened Yeah, but is that because of podcasts and Sky and things like that, we've kind of created these like new images. So like Roy Keane is just seen, as a like as Vinnie Jones or something instead of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
outrageous. Do you remember those 2 goals against
Arsenal.
Arsenal? Like
Yeah.
would have been, was it in August or something? We played them really early, and he just he was
At Highbury as well.
yeah, great player. I think Gary Neville, one of the best right backs
Wow.
that United have had, but because of just the way he is, like people sort of don't rate him like that. Like, and people will talk about someone like Berbatov or Nani, like in different ways when they should be talking about like Neville. For me, I think that's my. That's my unpopular opinion, is that like Gary Neville should be regarded as a legend of United for what he achieved during his captaincy.
Wow.
Is he not though? I always assumed people rate him quite highly.
Well, if you ask who the
Maybe not
best
as highly
right
as
back
the rest.
is, does he ever get mentioned?
You used to. But since
Yeah,
Trent
in the
come along-
90s, he was the right back, like in the Premier League era. There was him and Lee Dixon. That was it. There was no one else.
Yeah, that's true. But I think when I remember big mistakes he's made, like I don't remember the World Championships against Romario and Bruno, 2 goals.
Yeah.
It's like and he's made mistakes in big games. That sort of back posts, getting bullied and just little things like that. But I don't know. But he's still very good, very good. But yeah, game moves on. But yeah, I just think Gary Neville is a good debate. I mean, I have to give him credit, obviously. But yeah, I don't know if he's the best. I like Dennis Irwin over him as a player. Dennis Irwin offered more playing on the opposite side when he's predominantly right-footed. Because, Dennis Irwin's a much better player, in my opinion, than Gary Neville. But obviously, trophies and all that. But yeah, looking at the side, this is like reminiscent, because when we're looking at players today, all these players, they don't turn me on at all.
I hate them at the moment.
Yeah, getting on my nerves, man. They're really getting on my nerves. It's disappointing.
I thought of you during the match because I genuinely think today I would give Maguire 5 out of 10, like as probably the highest score.
Yeah,
but he once again demonstrated to me that he is a United player in the way that he fought and kept going and smacked that goalkeeper out at the end and so on. And like, I know he's not particularly popular. Like, Rash, don't know your thoughts on him. I know Mr. B's, but I look around the team and I just dislike all of them at the moment. Like, they all annoy me. But I can look at like someone like Maguire and think at least he's got attributes and quality and mental fortitude that I can respect. Yeah. And this team have really got they've got to work themselves in the ground to get back into our affections, I think.
If I'm not saying Brush, I'm not saying we're like that, but when we were kids, say put yourself as a 5-year-old now, which player, I'm your daddy and I'm buying you a Man United shirt for Christmas. Who would you want on the back of your shirt to be proud to walk the streets with at his current side?
You know what? I never used to get players' names on the back of my shirt. It was either plain or my own.
Yeah. But if you had to.
In this squad.
Yeah, this squad. And I had to wear it out with pride.
I don't know. It's not much to pick on, is there? Probably Mainu. Go for Kobe Mainu.
Okay. Mr. B?
Obi Martin.
Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. Bath time? I know you wouldn't do it, but who if you had to?
If I had to pick one player,
and you had to walk around town and wear it, most days.
It's probably Kobe, in it. Like it's probably Kobe, but in my luck, I'd have picked Mason Mount or something. Get number 7, just wandering around with that on.
The numbers would fall off eventually, one by one.
That shirt would last longer than he does.
Yeah.
And regarding Maguire, Bathtub, I will say in the past I've been a very harsh critic of his. Not been his biggest fan, but over the last season or two, I like what he's done since he turned down that move to West Ham. I was quite critical of that too. I was hoping he would move on, and he didn't. But unlike a lot of others, he kept his head down and he works hard and he does the right things. I like how he conducts himself, and he's an asset to the team.
I'd like to see him get the captaincy back, to be honest.
I would not like that. I think
when
one
I was
of
watching
the
him
reasons
in the
I like
second
him
half,
now.
hang on. When you're watching him in the second half, that was the nearest I've seen to a captain's performance.
But that armband destroyed him. That was one of the things that everyone chose to beat him with. So I think away from the BS that comes with the armband, I think he's living his best life.
Would you keep Bruno as captain?
Not particularly. I don't see him as a captain. This team is devout of leaders.
Who would you put in?
In the past, the most likely one was probably Leach. But I want to look at Leach now.
No, he's a dreadful defender. Yeah. Like, where is De Ligt?
De Ligt's my captain.
He's gone from the butcher to the bread knife.
Not even the bread knife. He genuinely looks like a little gopher lost out on the pitch, little legs scurrying away.
Oh dear.
Guys, I need to drink.
All right.
I need to drink.
What's on the menu, guys?
I have no idea when we're
whiskey. Actually, I'm spotted for choice. But the teller lie, I'm spotted for choice. I've got
a drive tomorrow. I can't get hammered tonight. Like, I've been hammered pretty much for 48 hours. Yeah, I'm just beginning to sober up. But I've got to drive back to Wales tomorrow.
Oh gosh,
I'm getting wrecked. I don't care. I ain't got nothing to do, man.
So on Sunday, this Sunday we got a game, innit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Newcastle,
so
yeah.
What day is it tomorrow? Thursday?
Friday tomorrow. It's Thursday today.
This is the best thing about Christmas. It's the only time an actual adult can go, like, what day is it tomorrow? That's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Did you all have a fun Christmas?
Yeah, my Christmas was good. My Christmas is, as long as I got the food, which I knew I had, then it was fine. I didn't have my Christmas was good, man. It's just these bastards have ruined it now, innit?
We play on Monday, Mr. V. We play on Monday. 8 o'clock.
We play on Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ! So the whole world and their granny's going to be watching us take licks.
Did you get to midnight in mass or anything, Yabba?
No, but I do. I say this at Christmas. I think it's a very emotional time. I mean, you get the most suicides at Christmas. You get most sort of breakups and divorces and fights and aggravation and breakdown of relationships. And you get a lot of people who are lonely at Christmas. You know, I think it's really a time. And even myself, I'll tell you something now. I don't celebrate Christmas, but around this time, I sort of remove myself and I get a bit not down, but reflective. It's a reflective time of year for me, where I think about things and how, you know, my life and how I can improve and get better at things and just where I'm at, you know. So I just, shout out to people Christmas period. I don't like to say actually the holiday period. I hope everyone reinforces their relationships, and you know, if you're lonely, seek out someone and reach out to someone and bring them in, and you know, bring them into your home and offer them, you know, a glass of wine. So brush don't drink.
What do you mean bring them into your home?
Don't invite strangers to your home, people.
You wake up and all your stuff gone. Don't bring.
Have you heard of the story about the Good Samaritan? You know?
Yeah, he woke up with no TV and sofa. No, guys, don't take no notice of you.
Which is the Good Samaritan? Is that the one with throwing stuff in?
The Samaritan on a lonely road wouldn't turn aside from a wounded man. He bound up his wounds. He gave money. He gave time.
People are going to tune off now.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it does. You do get a lot of stuff. People get emotional around this time of year. So if you're not, you know, family and things like that is the most important thing. That's what I see it for. So.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything to be kind to people. I think that's what Amondi's saying.
Yeah, be nice.
Get wrecked. Like, this is the one time there's no football till January that you're playing. It's perfectly acceptable to go daytime drinking. It's the most wonderful time of the year. You can live like a child and eat sweets and things. I can't get enough of it. I don't know. if you're unhappy, just have some sweeties and, and some rum and coke and get a bit of Just Dance on. You'll love it.
All right, that's me. I'm cool. Lack a notch,
Right.
guys. Yeah,
There you go, folks.
Yeah.
Forget the cheese board and the
Guys,
wine.
look.
We want sweets and we want rum and
just
coke.
forget there you go. See, the man's talk about wine. I have no interest in drinking them soft people drink. I want something that's gonna knock my head off.
Stop drink shaming
I'm-
people. Absolutely ridiculous.
Listen, it's all right. You can drink your bottles of red wine. I'll take 4 shots of Rare Nephew. We'll be in the same place. It's just I'll get there a lot quicker than you. It's not a problem, mate. It's not a problem. Look, guys in the chat, we will be back tomorrow. More than likely, we will definitely be back on Monday. I'm not sure my head's going to be able to do a watch along, man. I don't know,
Ooh.
but we will be back tomorrow.
Let's get someone.
Ooh.
Let's get
Yeah,
one
go
of
on.
these gophers to do watch-alongs for us.
Do not gophers. Any of you wonderful people fancy doing a watch along on Monday? DM the agenda, or abuse Yabba on his Facebook. I'm sure you all know where he is. Yeah. Look, if any of you lot fancy doing a watch along on Monday, let us know. And with that, it's Brush. Need me my manners.
Take care, folks. Thank you for having me on as always.
There you go.
Respect,
Bless you,
bro.
man. Bless you, man. Right, so it's like a notch from me.
So lack a notch from me.
Like a notch from me.
All right, but yeah, Brush has already said bye. All right, then. These guys are out.